And welcome along to the National Hockey Centre here in Glasgow, and what a game to get the afternoon going in the Grandmasters European Cup. It's the women's over 60s and a battle of old enemies as England are up against Scotland. It's the third game of the day on pitch one. You may well have seen some of our coverage earlier this morning. A win for Germany against the Netherlands in the over 75s game, and the match finished 2-1 to the Germans. Now there was a game this morning which you might have seen, Southern Cross Blue against the Welsh Dragons in the over 60s tournament trophy, and there was a scene where one of the Welsh Dragons players took ill, Mark Vaughan Thomas, and had a cardiac arrest actually on the field of play. No history. I've been speaking to the Welsh doctor, and to bring some news, though, some good news, that he seems to be well. He was revived, had to revive him, taken to the Glasgow Royal Hospital, and appears to be doing okay at the moment anyway. But that was the latest news we got just about half an hour ago from the Welsh doctor as part of the Dragons team. But Mark Vaughan Thomas took ill, and that doctor actually said very lucky because of the setting we're in with lots of medical officers and doctors around. There was some help in there too, that he survived the ordeal, because otherwise you never quite know. But at least the good news to hear from that game this morning, which Mark Vaughan Thomas took ill for the Welsh Dragons and hopefully on the mend in hospital in Glasgow at the moment. Okay then, let's focus on this game in the women's competition. Let's look at the two sides. And for England, well, captained by Ruth Hine, who had a tremendous game, scored 2 early goals against the Dutch in the first game they played. Probably was thinking, how on earth did they not get a hat-trick after such a quick start? They had such a fast start. Some of their notable performances included Ruth Young, who played really well, Christina Levitt as well, for the English, looking to continue their defence of this over 60s title. For Scotland, it's their first game in this competition. One evolved in 2015. It's an expanded women's competition. Maggie McClellan is the captain for the side. Sheila Reid will be the player in goal, coached by Neil Sinclair. Side looking to have the home crowd behind them in their huddle at the moment to see if they can take a great start for them in their opening game. Last minute huddles taking place. There is another game out on one of the other pitches in Glasgow in this competition. We'll try and, if we can, bring you some updates from the game between the Alliance GM against the Alliance GGM, the two Alliance sides playing each other. That one's just started, in fact, over at Clydesdale. 0-0 in the early stage of that one. To bring you some updates, we'll try and bring some updates from that one throughout the course of this game. So there's England in the red tops to get us going. Real excitement and a buzz in the stand. Good crowd in here once again in Glasgow. It is Monday now, into the start of a new week. Still a great crowd in here. England trying to make some of the early headway. Really were impressive against the Dutch side. Emphatic when it was. Trying to pinch that one was Gladys McCloyland. Scotland get it back in their possession. Incidentally, the officials are Naomi Cato of the Netherlands and Harriet Hanwell from Ireland. England back in possession. Chris Albury, support to the left. in from tip in, and by it goes. One or two thready passes caused real damage for the Dutch in their opening game. Scotland need to be wary of that in the early stages, particularly. Such a dominant first quarter from the English in that game against the Netherlands. We've racked up some early goals, and you kind of thought 3-0, they might well head on to score lots against the Netherlands, but in the end, could only score one more goal than the rest of the game, which is some testament to some resilient Dutch defending. Turn from Paulson, given away and thumped away by Janice Moyet. Sue Morgan for Young. Was pretty impressive in that first quarter yesterday. Levitt, I'm sure she'll be taking the penalty corners once again if they get any, of course. And there we are, on cue. Just a little under 3 minutes played in the game, and England get the first penalty corner. It's going to be Christina Levitt to inject. Scored fourth goal against the Dutch from a penalty corner. She ghosted in, trapped by McTaggart, but a bit of a miscommunication with Hine. But they do get it back through Ruth Young in towards Hine. Dribbles, and it is going to be a goal. I think it is Christina Levitt, isn't it? Just stayed around there at the post, and second goal for her in the competition, and sneaked in, and England lead inside 3 minutes. It was patient. The actual penalty corner routine didn't really work out as planned, but they kept it together, and the edge of the D found little pockets of space. And Levitt was there. There was just 4 sides in the 2015 women's competition. England, Alliance, Celts and the Netherlands. Netherlands only picked up 1 point from those 4 games, and seen how England put them aside eventually in a way. Had a good start, but laboured for the rest of the game in terms of trying to get more goals thanks to the defence. Other outfits, including Scotland in the women's competition, just one over 60s bracket, so anyone over 60 can play, has the team. That's McCloymont for Scotland. Quite near Yvonne Wilson, who is in front. Obviously this competition has the 2 Alliance sides involved, 2 English teams in England and the LX ladies, as well as the Dutch back and now Scotland. Good to see in the own backyard, obviously Glasgow hosting this event across the 4 pitches in the city, the 2 here, and then the University of Strathclyde hosting some games as well as Clydesdale. Clydesdale, the venue for the other game taking place in this competition at the moment between the 2 Alliance sides. Alliance GM, Alliance GGM, 0-0 there after 11 minutes. Levitt trying to play in. Here's Hine. Kind of ran. The ball was almost forcing her to sprint along, but couldn't quite keep it under her control. They'd taken Nick out from a Scotland stick, so back with McTaggart's long corner into Albury. Hine Hine wriggling. Hine. It's in. And I thought Sheila Reid would get away. Just squirmed through. And Ruth Hine scored 2 very quick goals in a very similar pattern here for England to yesterday. First quarter at full pace and pelt, scoring goals. And the captain scoring once more. 2 days in a row. Target lost that, so here's Jill Reid. For support, and thumbs up from Janice Moyer, who was looking for the free hit and got it. Here's Charlotte Barrett. Moyer trying to make the run. A couple of Scottish players down towards that corner. Didn't knock out off the English player, so there's the Scottish long corner. This bit of defensive juggling to try and get it away, and Target winning that. All fun for Levitt trying to put pressure on for Aileen Smith. Jane Neal losing out for Hine. Young. Hine, it's going to be half cleared for McTaggart though only. Good stuff from Yvonne Wilson. Scotland looking to try and find a little bit of a leeway back into the contest. Clement rather I should say, trying to race. Reid with support. A bit of frustration kicking in, not quite finding the support. Janice Moyer. Direct pass dispossessed. Reid forward. Climont, advantage here for Souness. No real advantage coming for the Scots. Reid into the circle it goes. Still remains with Scotland. Ruth Hine having a quiet chat with the umpire, just make sure that decision was right, which umpire of course will say yes. And Scotland will bring it back. Jane Neal to try and deliver, and that will end that. A bit too aggressive, that one. Straight into Jean Scott Miller. Scott Miller, one of the players to watch for England, because she was the second top goal scorer in 2015 with 4 goals. Scotland doing well over the last couple of minutes just to get some possession on the side, looking to try and find something a bit of conviction in towards the circle. Maureen Bathgate gives that one away for this time, and here comes McTaggart. Flung for Levitt, support up top in Pawson. The pass can be made. It is made for Pawson. Back to Levitt. Oh, unfortunately, it just rolled up and bounced off. Albury getting in the way of each other, but that was threatening break for the English. After a couple of minutes, when they were just trying to keep Scotland at bay down the other side. Scotland going down that side, they favour that side so far, and they have made forays forwards. Here's Reid, back for Bathgate. Foul against Ruth Hine. McClellan hammers off the head of Miranda McTaggart. A shake of the head, and quickly everyone's on with it. Levitt dispossessed by Jane Neal. Climont into the circle. Sue Morgan with time, but then just a little bit of pressure went on. Joan Mackey getting quietly ghosted in behind. 90 seconds left in the quarter. Stolen. Levitt for Hine. Hine ghosted away by Barrett. Pawson in the middle. Hine's going to go in the solo on herself, is she? It's a penalty corner. Well, that would have been one of the goals of the week so far if that went in. But Harriet Amwell, the umpire, arms out. Well, the first penalty corner England had earlier on in the contest was slightly messy to start with, but then they cleverly worked it into a goal. So we'll see what happens. Christina Levitt this time fires it at too much pace for Chris Albury, and that'll end that. Talbot, McTaggart for Albury. Levitt. Slipped through for Pawson. Well, a turnover possession at the end of the first quarter as the hooter goes. And very similar pattern today to yesterday for England. A very fast start. Christina Levitt in the 4th minute scoring. Got a little bit of a botched penalty corner worked out in their favour in the end. They were patient. Then Ruth Hine scoring, the captain, her 3rd goal of the tournament already in the 7th minute. Scotland built their way into the game, but they're going to have to come from behind. It's 2-0 at the end of the first quarter. All set then for the second quarter. England with 2-0 cushion. And England get us going then. Well, Scotland trying to rest, or reduce the deficit I should say, in the second quarter. Certainly grew into the game and trying to put the pressure on Moira Anderson. Back with England and Albury. Scott Miller, little ricochet, but just tip in. Press on from Anderson, but comfortable for England here. Far towards Pawson. Pawson was looking for Albury, but turnover of possession. Anderson trying to go through. Tip in, but does get the ball in their path. Aggie McLennan is the captain there with the yellow band on, number 10 for Scotland. Albury. McTaggart, free, clean air. Didn't quite work out as she planned. Dimmick and Albury again trying to link up. Very compact to the Scottish side this quarter. Difficult here for England to break through into the 23, particularly even let alone the D. Twist from McTaggart, but it goes against her that, so Noel Duncan across for Anderson, having to chase here. Miller's pass doesn't really find the time, but Barrett gets it back for Anderson. A bit unlucky with the intended delivery into the circle. Turning the runaway Ruth Hine once again into Albury. Hine 1-2, working so well, and Hine's going to try and follow up from Pawson, and it's smuggled somehow away. Scotland survived there. That was again a deadly break, and Ruth Hine is really the player that seems to set a lot of these attacks up. Dimmick in this time though. Here's Ruth Young across the face of the goal. In fact, just goes out by the left post. Scotland are having to work hard to create any little gaps in the English 23. England can seem to just break, which is the threat, especially when you've got in a cushion like they have. They can maybe feel like they can pick off Scotland who are chasing goals. Still plenty of time for both sides. Clement's ball looking for Yvonne Wilson. Alright, the other way though, against the Scottish player. Hine almost stole that away from Noel Duncan. Taggart tipping. England might well sense a break opportunity again with Young. Levitt in front. Found. Levitt now having to try and regain control. Smith alongside. Hine. Magic. Rattled off Maureen Bathgate. I think we'll get the first penalty corner of the second quarter. So it is Levitt, the opening goal scorer, to take the injection again here for England as Scotland take the time to get set up. Gladys McClymont with a steady jaunting. It's a different routine here for Hine. I think she's tried to play it in behind to get it back to Levitt, but it didn't work out. I can tell you, in the other game playing in the o60 women competition, it's the two Alliance sides. The Alliance GM side lead the GGM side by a goal to nil through Sally Walls just at the end of the first quarter, right on the hooter. So Sally Walls with that goal in the game which is taking place over at Clydesdale. That one is just heading for half time. There's about 2 minutes left to play in that one in the end of the second quarter. It's 2-0 here to England against Scotland. Just under 8 minutes left until half time here. Scotland in their possession. Barrett with the run, no advantage coming, so get the free hit. He took a bit of a sore one. Read for Bathgate. Barrett down that channel there. Anderson. Archie Bargy. Scotland's free hit on the edge of the... Feels like they've been building up the last 10 minutes, 12 minutes either side of the quarters to get a goal back. Ball from Barrett into the circle. Escaped Souness's grasp. Right. Target trying to run away with it. Levitt now. Target continued to run, and off on the run Mary Pawson, again, the outlet in the middle, comes back though for Hine. Hine a little too much there, although he couldn't get there, couldn't quite control. Scotland have been patiently trying to work something, and then 2, 3, 4 passes, it was almost in danger territory at the other end. Five minutes to half time. England still relatively comfortable. Scotland have been huffing and puffing away. But we've seen this not in the same kind of way, because the Dutch really struggled to any attack going. Scotland have had more possession for sure than the Netherlands yesterday, but haven't quite worked a little pocket of space to try and get themselves back into it. England started to well in the first quarter yesterday, and then only got one further goal when they were 3-0 up at the end of the first 15. England regather the ball in their possession. Barbara Oliver, McTaggart. We're looking to try and get it in once more. Came off a foot. Play on. Taggart in for Levitt. Just squirmed away by the Scottish defence. McTaggart bites off her foot. No advantage coming. Ball down towards Levitt again. Oliver. Levitt. Levitt goes through the legs. I think they'll Volbery this time. Pawson was too near to the goal to reach it behind. Ball down in that corner where the refreshments tent is, and clutch of some great caps once more from the Australians, I think, enjoying the action down there. And it goes from high. Oh, and it might well bounce around. Pawson trying to get it from McClellan, who's trying to get it away. Bit of urgency from the English bench. Sense that maybe if we can get a third goal, half time will be that little bit sweeter. Scotland still in this, looking to just work a bit of play and get one back. Just a turn from Barrett, then from Levitt. Forward from Duncan, only found Hine. Duncan did well to rescue that though. And now she gets a turn to win her way down the channel. Joan Mackey. Sarah Tippin doing well for the English defensively. There's a big bit of fresh air there, which Albury can't quite get. Barrett did well. 30 seconds left. Scotland had to work from deep. Bathgate's ball cut out. Will be a Scottish ball free hit. McClellan. Souness. Final few seconds, they're not going to get something towards the knee. That will be half time. England with their fast start in the first quarter. Goals from Christina Levitt and from Ruth Hine. Got them off to a great momentum starter once again for them, like they did against the Dutch. Scotland have had more possession, maybe the Dutch haven't quite got the chances they wanted to get themselves back into it. But at the moment at half time, we'll leave you with the best of the action from the first two quarters. It is England 2, Scotland 0. Welcome back then for the third quarter. We've had a little break at half time, and it is England who have the lead against Scotland. Scotland looking to try and battle away the pressure to get themselves back into this game. England though down early on to try and just seal maybe things with a third goal. Here's Young. Trying to barge by Barrett through the legs of Anderson. Young was in some mission, but eventually stopped in its tracks. Another game in the women's competition taking place at the same time, and it's the Alliance GM side leading against the GGM Alliance team by a goal to nil still. They're about 5 or 6 minutes in front of our play. Sally Walsh got the opening goal in the end of the first quarter, so 1-0 in that one. England have taken it back here, ball onto Levitt, into the circle. Keeper was down to make the cell as big as possible. Sheila Reid in the Scotland goal. One corner taken quickly, tipping into the D. And it came off a Scotland player. Mentioned there's 2 English sides in this competition. The LX ladies side drew with the Alliance GM team, so they got a point apiece. England, as it stands, this England side will be going into 6 points. Dutch at the bottom with 1 game played, no points. Scotland will be on no points as well. And the GM side actually will be going on to 4 points if it was to stay as it was with their 1-0 lead against the fellow Alliance team. We've got a whole host of the women's coverage throughout the week on our main pitch and through our coverage here. The next women's game on the main pitch we'll have coverage of is Scotland against the LX ladies on Thursday. Ball flung in, here's Hyde trying to help him. It's been kicked by the keeper. McTaggart trying to race in. There's Oliver. And it has been somehow cleared by Scotland, and it goes again by Baggs and furls itself away from the goal. But 1, 2, 3, 4 stabs at it from the English Scotland survive. It remains just the 2-0. Lost in the combat by Barrett, but half clear only as far as Ruth Young. Hine, she's just won herself a penalty corner for England. A bit of obstruction in the circle, so they will get the chance. England, first penalty corner of this third quarter, and mixed success so far. 1 goal from their very first one. Not been quite as fluid as yesterday's penalty corners. They did have several to try out though. There must have been about 20 plus penalty corners in the game against the Dutch, but here is Levitt to inject in towards Hine this time, who controls. Back to the injector. Rolls it up, does she off the foot? There is the advantage here though, which Hine's taken. Falls for Young. Target ushered up by McClymont, and the advantage was played on, and England used up their time with the advantage, and in the end Scotland defended well. Here's Young once more, and towards Levitt. Douglas doing well just to help it away in the short term. And Scotland have the possession, have the free hit. Albury. Douglas only as far as the English frontline threat again. Levitt doing well once more. Hine picking it back up here. Came off her foot, so that will end that. But and the captain, another terrific performance for our side. Ball for Albury. Young, advantage here for the English. Carried on a run. There's Young, but they're stopped by the Scots. Just kept in by Caroline Baggs, and it's flung to the circle. Levitt looking to turn away. Failing the captain. Did well initially, but then little dangerous, and there's a penalty corner given to England. Third goal you suspect would once for all secure it. Trapped by McTaggart for Hine. And again, not quite working out. Albury though trying to win it back, but a bit too close for comfort, so Scotland will get the free hit again. A bit camped more in this third quarter, the Scots, defensively. Young wide for Hine. Levitt was around, as was McTaggart. Comes back for the long corner for Albury. Space for Tippin. Tippin into the circle. And did it wriggle up, I think, unfortunately off the foot for Eileen Smith. So another penalty corner for England. Umpire Naomi Cato telling Ringers to hurry up. Christina Levitt to inject again. This time on the edge of the D for the captain. And Hines will to Taggart. Taggart couldn't get the contact she wanted. A little eye smile from both. A little apology from Miranda McTaggart. Squirming down for Souness. As we say, haven't really had anything going for Scotland this third quarter. England have put on the pressure. And towards the circle it went for. Defended and forward comes Albury. Just to watch for Reid's attentions. Bags for Young. Young bags in for Hine. Back, it'll go for the long corner. Quick from Albury to tip in, to launch one. McTaggart. Again, that little McTaggart wry smile. Executed in well, but McTaggart couldn't quite get her feet sorted out when she was trying to turn with the ball. It's a chasing the Vaughan Wilson for Scotland there, all on their own thought. So Reid won that illegally. Hine. Levitt. Young. Tried to get past McLennan. That came off English player last, I think. Should say Ruthine was getting ready to set up for a long corner, but umpire says no. Ball in this time. Taggart. Well saved by the keeper. Great link up between the two players, Albury and McTaggart. McTaggart just about keeping it in. and trying to keep it back for a side. Play on to the umpire despite one or two looking for a penalty corner in red. Oh, great stuff from Sheila Reid. Still in this here, Scotland, in their defensive identity and real strength, working well, trying to keep out the English, who have had all this quarter. Hine dribbling into the D, Smith keeping her out wide, Young across, away it went anyway by Noelle Duncan. Still 1-0 to the Alliance GM team in the other game currently going on over at the Clydesdale pitch. That one is at the end of the third quarter. Ball in here for England for Levitt. McTaggart, can't she wriggle the space? Cleland putting it out wide, or making it more difficult for her. Albury's strike initially blocked. There was about, what, 5-6 blue players in there. Back with Young. Levitt with the free hit on the edge of the D. Albury takes. In for Levitt. And that goes against her. The umpire's arm out. Scotland survive another scare. 20 seconds left in the quarter. Ball down to Levitt. Couldn't find McTaggart. Clock went to 0 about 20 seconds ago. There's the hooter now. It is the end of the third quarter. England still with that 2-0 lead that they picked up from the end of the first quarter. And there are 2 goals in the 7 minutes doing the damage. Scotland this time, though, this quarter, been under a heck of a lot of pressure, but they've held off. Is there hope for them yet? We'll find out in the final quarter. Set in for the fourth and final quarter. Neil Sinclair, the Scotland coach, talking about keeping discipline, keeping in the game. Scotland are still in this game, but they haven't shown, certainly since half-time, any real threat of going forward. They'll be doing well, I think, to keep it 2-0. England are pretty awesome when they go forward, but Scotland still know if they can't sneak a goal, they have a chance here in this expanded over 60s women's competition format. Scotland involved with it here in their own backyard in Glasgow on pitch 1. Great to have them on our coverage along with England again for the second day in a row. Hopefully you're enjoying our YouTube and Facebook live coverage as Chris Albury looks to get the ball forward. Christina Levitt into the circle, and away by it goes. Big cheer from the home crowd as going well there was Glasgow McClymont. Stealing that back. It was only brief. But press coming on for Scotland. But Barbara Oliver hammers away. Anderson. Controlled here for McClymont. Into the circle they go. Away it goes by Jean Scott Miller. Bright start from the Scots in this final quarter. And back by Hine for England. Motoring for McTaggart and Levitt. English coaching team lost. Head and hands, can't believe it. That should have probably been 3-0, but again, just shows that little burst of pace they've got, just a little burst of quality. 2 or 3 moves, they were in the D, almost scoring again. Young for McTaggart. Sprinting by Barrett. Levitt and Oliver getting in the way of each other, unfortunately for the English side. Klingmon's ball just about skipped over the head of Sue Morgan. Scott Miller. And ricochet through for Levitt. Space for Young here, making the run. Thought that would be a free hit on the edge of the D there for England. Hit unfortunately into a Scottish foot, but play onside the umpire. Tippin was looking for McTaggart. Barrett did well for Scotland in defence. Reid. McCoy wants for Scotland. Scott Miller was up against Anderson. Bit of a cheer from the Scottish contingent in the stand. Getting worked through. Anderson again involved for Scotland. A very tight space. That might be a little loose. Can they get here? And Neil Duncan will have it anyway to try and restart play. I can find Bathgate, but away come England, and away comes Christina Levitt, the opening scorer. McTaggart's long ball for Young's dispossessed by Moira Anderson. Over flings this wide for Levitt again. Comes through for Albury. McTaggart cleared by Smith. Hine centrally in. Levitt, McTaggart, Levitt, and it trickles in. And at long last, the English will say they have their third. And a second for Christina Levitt. And pressure, the water bubbled out of the pan eventually. And England have a third with 7.5 minutes left in the game. Young won that back in here, Sullivan. Albury, Levitt, feathers forward but cut out. Plenty of time for Caroline Baggs. Run into Warren, get the ball turned over. Young and Albury. Big cheers for Christina Levitt, who's making way for a sub from her bench, and no wonder. Aubrey for Masters, but just wriggled up off our body.
This is the last quarter.
Twist in the turn from Gladys McClymont. And she continues in the run. 4 for Masters. Scotland briefly half away. And we'll have it again, though. Into the final 4 minutes here. Still 1-0 to the Alliance GM team against the GGM opponents. Two Alliance sides playing each other. And England, it will be 6 points out of 6 in the group stage here in the pool format in this competition. And we've got 12 out of 12 in 2015. We'll have to win a couple more games here with expanded teams involved. It's given away here to Vaughan Wilson. Back to Barrett. Home crowd would quite like a Scotland goal. Sarah Tippin. English free hit. Ruth Hine captain aside to another victory in this competition. Bags for Young. Through the legs of Masters. Clear only as far as Hine. Hine for Matravers in there now. Young in there again. And the signal for a penalty corner has been given. All a bit of a mess. A bit of a scramble for both sides. Different injector this time with limit off. Judith Masters, and a bit of a change up, I think, at the last minute for the Scottish defence. Just under 90 seconds left on the clock, and it comes towards Hine. 1-2 with McTaggart, but cleared. Hine wriggling away and just skiffed away from danger as the hooter goes, and England continue their great start to the competition. Their defence with a 3-0 win against Scotland in their opening game for the Scots. England started just as they did with the Dutch, with some quick goals in the first quarter. It was 2-0 after 7 minutes thanks to Christina Levitt and Ruth Hine. But the Scottish defence was superb. Did have one or two little moments forward but couldn't get a goal themselves. But there was just that clinch and seal the deal in the final quarter from Levitt again to get her second of the game. And it is 3 goals apiece for Hine and Levitt in this competition so far. So they're on to 6 points out of 6 available so far, and they are on top of the table. Another game in this competition taking place at the same time over at Clydesdale Western. That one is finished 2-0 to the Alliance GM team against the GGM Alliance side. So now a bit of an Alliance derby. Barbara Doran got her second goal with 2 minutes to play after Sally Wall scored. So it is 4 points for Alliance GM from their first 2 games played. But England, a great start for them. We'll take a bit of a pause. We'll be moving into the men's European Cup over 60s competition. We'll be focusing on Group B for our next 2 games. Wales against Italy at 3:40, but on its way at 2 o'clock is the Netherlands against Germany. So do join us again shortly from that. But we'll leave with some of the best of the action from this one, as England are the winners by 3 goals against Scotland in the women's over 60s.